This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by my good friend and Hall of Fame promoter, Frank Warren. Frank, I'm guessing you've had worse Tuesdays.
Yeah, it's a bit of a come down. I mean, we had a very late night last night, discussing shows for next year, which are going to be quite exciting when they're announced.
Yeah, I think there were some photos came out of you last night, weren't there? Sheesh, was it? Uh,
No, we was
or was
actually
that an
in
old one?
No, we was in Gaia, which is a restaurant in Dover Street. Actually, a very, very good restaurant, which was quite late last night. And yeah, I bumped into Nigel Ben and his son there. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about that. I mean, I wasn't going to kick off with this, but as we've kind of brought it up, Connor Ben posted the picture of you, Eddie, him, his dad, obviously all on social media last night. He said, "You know what's next? What is next?"
Well, what was next for
Uh,
me at that stage was my main course.
yeah,
What's next? You better ask him what's next.
but are you involved? Is there going to be something involving Connor
Uh,
Ben?
Connor's got to sort his situation out with the board first of all, which I understand is being done, and hopefully, uh, it will get sorted out one way or another, and then obviously then see what the position is moving forward.
But presumably, it's not too much of a leap to say it'll be something involving Riyadh season.
That I don't know at the moment, and I can't speak on behalf of him. He's got a promoter who's quite capable of doing that.
Yeah. Well, you spent a bit of time with him last night, by all accounts. So yeah.
Yeah, well, we were working on a few things, quite interesting things, which I think everybody's going to love.
Can you tell it? Can you give us any hints about that? Maybe
No,
no,
not a thing. All
none
I
at
can
all.
say,
Not
yeah,
a
you're
single
going to
hint.
love them. You're going to love them till they're signed. I've learned that in the past. You start talking about things, the next minute the price goes up or it all falls apart. So we wait until it's signed, sealed, and then we deliver it.
Well, let's go back to Saturday night, and someone who did deliver, of course, was your man Daniel Dubois. You predicted at the outset that it had come down to who won the jab battle and who put his opponent on the back foot first. Dubois did both of those things. Did you expect him to get the job done quite as early as he did?
I thought the fight would finish within 5 or 6 rounds. I mean, that was my prediction, and thankfully it turned out that way for Daniel.
Yeah, I mean, he dominated the fight. I think it's fair to say. We were talking on our live show last night. Came out on the front foot. AJ's team post fight said they expected a fast start from Dubois, but for whatever reason, he was never able to deal with it. Was there any point in those 5 rounds where you were at all worried that the tide was going to turn?
No, he got caught. I think it was the penultimate round. He got caught with a good uppercut. AJ caught him with a good uppercut, and he took it. And then obviously he got caught with that big right hand where I think what AJ said in his corner, it was he had to roll the dice or whatever the word, words to that effect. And he came out, and that's exactly what he did. I think he knew he was a good 6 rounds behind, 7 rounds, well, more than that because of the knockdowns, probably about 7 rounds behind at that stage. And that's what he said he was going to do, roll the dice. And he did that. And I think that was the moment again, which we would discuss before the fight. I said, when he throws that big right hand, he's so open for a counter, and that's what he did. But he caught Dan with a big right hand,
Yeah.
which was a good shot, and Dan took the shot and obviously fired one back, and which was a perfect shot. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah, Shane McGuigan, there was a clip going around Shane McGuigan on radio during the fight when Ben Davison was giving that advice in the corner to AJ about rolling the dice. And Shane McGuigan said, I think he's given him some dangerous advice there because Daniel's a really good counter puncher. I think he can land, because obviously Shane used to work with Dubois, said he can land that counter over the top. And that's exactly how it happened.
Well, it did. I mean, I know he's a good counter puncher. He's a good offensive. He's good in all departments. Moving forward, he's good as an offensive fighter, but also as we all know, he's good at as a counter puncher and showed that. And as I said, whoever commits big shots in this fight, it'll be who's got the best chin. Said that before the fight, and who, you know, who takes advantage of the counter, and that's what Daniel did. He has got a good chin. He's lost a couple of fights, but it weren't down to getting absolutely knocked out or anything. The first one, as we know, was the problem with the eye, and the second one, I think, was more of a pissed off with the referee, which was not good enough. But that was a big turning point in his career. Looking back on that fight, he knows that. We all know that, and he's moved on in a big way since and shown what he's all about.
What did you make of the referee on Saturday night? Because there's been a
I
bit
was
of
I weren't
criticism.
very happy with Marcus. I've always quite liked Marcus, but I think I didn't like that he gave him a warning so quick about heads, which I thought was a bit severe, and it stopped the momentum for a minute because he was doing well. He was catching him and he jumps in there, and then the other time was that he definitely both gloves definitely touched the canvas when he went down and he didn't count it.
Yeah, and there was also the end of the third round. It looked like he might step in and stop the fight. He waited until AJ went
Correct.
down
Yeah.
and issued a count.
Correct. Correct. And I wasn't very happy with it. But anyway, look, at the end of the day, like I said to Daniel about the fight that he had with Usyk afterwards, I said, "These are your referees. You've got to go and do it yourself," and that's what he done.
What, in your opinion, is the difference between Daniel in that fight on Saturday to the one who lost to Usyk not that long ago?
Maturity, mental maturity, simple as that. Everything he does is there. There was good head movement as well in the fight, by the way. He was doing, when he was certainly in that first round, he's doing a little shimmy with his shoulders. He was rolling, moving in, and I just thought he was superb. He boxed to absolute plan. It was a great exhibition.
And we'll talk about the future for both men shortly, but just want to take you back to fight week itself. There was rumours going around that there was a rift between Don Charles, Dubois' trainer, and Dubois' father, Stan, Dave, whichever you want to refer to him as. And that later got proved to be untrue. It was Don was ill, as we knew. He had a really bad head cold and was in bed until Saturday night, which makes sense. You don't want to pass it on to the fighter. But what did
Correct.
you make of when those rumours broke? And were you kind of eager to get something out there to counter them?
I don't know why people don't phone up and ask first before posting stuff like that. Spencer Theron, obviously, he's got an axe to grind with Stan. I know, I believe that's over something regarding some deal that they'd done or was alleged to have been done, which Stan didn't agree with. I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of it. It's not my business. But, the rumor was totally without any foundation. It was a load of bollocks.
And just on that, what do you make of the job that Don Charles has done with Daniel so far?
He's done a very good job with him. I mean, he's done an excellent job with him. There's no doubt about that. Him and his team, they've worked very hard together, and it's gelled, and it's a winning team now, and they've got it. They've done a great job. But Martin done a great job as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who criticize the dad in this case, and dads in general are involved in their sons' careers. But it just seems like as he's played a more prominent role over the last three fights, Daniel's form's only improved. He seems to be
Well,
overall a
because he
positive
hears him, he
influence.
hears his voice. He's very close to his father. I mean, they've got a very strong bond between the two of them. And that's the voice he hears. I mean, if I was talking to him and you was talking to him and everybody else in the room was talking to him and his dad's speaking, he's just listening for his dad. So that's the conduit to pass through, relevant instructions sometimes. But he listens to Don as well. And I think, he's, and as I say, he's matured. He's certainly a different person in the last 12 months. And just think about it, in the last 12 months, he's had 4 fights against an undefeated world champion. He's had the interim champion who was undefeated, Babe Miller, top 10 ranked undefeated, and AJ, former two-time world champion and Olympic gold medalist. How many fighters have had that in their careers? I can't think of any at this stage of the game.
Yeah, it's an incredible run of form.
Yeah.
Um, Immediately post-fight, Eddie Hearn alluded to there being a rematch clause, later corrected himself, I believe, on Sky Sports. Just to
No,
confirm for people out there, there's no
there isn't.
immediate clause.
There isn't. There wasn't one in our contract. I mean, and what was being said was that they had one, but that's not the case.
Yeah, so I think Eddie
I
later
was
said,
unaware of that. I was unaware of that, but for us, there certainly wasn't one.
yeah, I think Eddie later said that Joshua has got one fight left with Riyadh season, but it won't
Correct.
necessarily be against Dubois. With that in mind, what do you expect to be next for Daniel?
For Daniel, I'm not even really thinking about it at the moment. He won't fight again this year, that's for sure. So we'll wait until spring. He had he done he's got over a tooth out today. He had an impacted tooth from I think from that right hand, and he's having that done, and he'll have a break. He's had a busy 12 months.
Well, the best 12 months of his life. And at age 27, I suppose he's very much got time on his side.
27 last week. I mean, so it's not bad, is it?
Great birthday present for him.
Yeah.
Um, On the subject of AJ, we had our live show last night. We put out a poll to the audience that gave them three options. Should AJ take an immediate rematch with Dubois, if that is a possibility? Should he fight someone else on the comeback trail, or should he retire? 45% of people said he should retire. What's your view on it? If you were Team AJ, what would you be advising?
I'd advise him to take a break and think about his future and not make a decision right this moment.
What about the likelihood of an immediate rematch with Dubois? Would you advise him to shy away from that?
It's not my position to tell him whether to take the rematch or not. If he wants the rematch, I'd certainly do it.
Do you think will he have taken anything from that fight to give him confidence going into a rematch that he can turn it round?
That I don't know. I mean, the fact of the matter is, he's with a real lively fighter. Daniel's now, and he's not achieved his full potential yet. He's still a young man, and he's getting better. He's getting better in every fight. There's more head movement in this fight than there was in the fight against Hrgovic.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a tricky one for AJ, but you're on the fence, is fair to say, about his future.
His future is his future. I mean, I've made comments in the past about fighters should retire. I said Derek Chisora should retire 2 years ago, and he won his last fight against Joe Joyce, which I thought, and I think a lot of people felt that Joe would win.
Now, you spoke to my colleague immediately after the fight, Radio Raheem, and said you wouldn't feel entirely comfortable making a fight between Dubois and Tyson Fury. If Fury comes through against Usyk in December, though, isn't it unavoidable?
That may be the case. That's going to be up to the two boxers to decide. But I would be uncomfortable, and I have been involved with fighters before who we promoted fighting each other, and we'd never been shied away from it. I'm very fond of and very close with Tyson, and also the fact that we brought Daniel through, and we've sort of had a good relationship, and it's a good relationship. So, that would be you talk about fence sitting. I mean, that was going to be very awkward. I'll probably have a sore arse for a month sitting on the fence for that one. But it's, we'll see. It's business. At the end of the day, they are professional boxers, and if it did happen, they would make huge money, and we would make money out of it, obviously. But it'd be a difficult one, that.
Why is that one more difficult than some of the ones you put on in the past, like Joyce Dubois, for example?
Um, well, that was ordered. That was ordered by the board. They could have pulled out. Neither of them wanted to pull out, and so we put it on.
But are you closer to the fighters this time around? Is that why you'd find it personally
Yeah,
quite?
they're both. I've got great respect. I've got respect for all fighters, but I've got a lot of respect for them, and I've got respect for what they've done for the adversity they've been through in their careers. Tyson with all the, some of the crap that happened in his life and how he dealt with it and to come through, and I've got great admiration for that. And the same with Daniel with all the stupid abuse he got from people and questioning his heart and so forth. And I've got great. Which added a lot of pressure on him, and I've got great admiration for that.
Given those two defeats and the criticism that he got, how satisfying is the victory, not just for him, but for you on Saturday night?
Well, it's satisfying for me because it was obviously very satisfying for him, and to see like we've said, what he's made of. He's made of stern stuff.
But you stuck by him despite the criticism and you maneuvered him back into position to perform the way he has. So, a lot of people have commented how good a promotional job has been done with him as well.
Well, I think we have done that, to be quite honest, but that's my job. That's my job to do that.
Now, we talked about the future for both fighters. In the immediate future, there was a lot of praise of Daniel, as there rightly should be, and conjecture over AJ. There were some dissenting voices about the show as a whole. This is something we talked about off camera earlier. There was an article in Boxing Scene, I believe, was published last night by Declan Warrington. I wasn't aware of it until I was sent the link, and I've had a quick look over it since. We'll take some of the criticisms in turn, one of which was that there were some empty seats at Wembley and that perhaps the record crowd wasn't quite all it was cracked up to be. What's your response to that?
Well, it's just stupid. I've got a lot of respect for Declan. I like Declan, but that's bollocks. If you notice on the ring, there's a canopy, yeah?
Yeah.
And any empty seats he's referring to would be seats that have got bad sightline. There's
Yeah.
98,000 people that were in that building. That's what they click going through. That's what was in there. I don't know what people, and I'm a bit disappointed that, with that, what on earth why is everybody trying to pick this show apart? What the fucking hell has that got to do with the show, with the boxing? I find it amazing, some of the stuff that's going down here. It's like, let's find something wrong. You've had a great fight. My guy won, and all of them all picked him to get beat. He won. Good undercard, fantastic atmosphere there. Everybody had a great time. Great moment in British sport, British boxing, and we're trying to say like somebody's telling lies about the attendance, or there was some empty seats there. I'll tell you what, if I'd have sold those seats, then I've had a load of complaints saying I can't see.
Well, the final part of the boxing scene article, and I know you wanted the opportunity to address these criticisms, so in case people think I'm being unduly harsh here. But yeah, boxing scene declared that they only entered the fight or only had access to the fight because they bought a ticket. They went into detail about why they weren't given credentials for the fight.
We had applications for 367 applications for people to cover the fight. There's 38 press seats. Okay. So that's what we do. You had like BBC asked for 4. A couple of newspapers asked for 3 or 4. We can't accommodate them all, plus the YouTubers, plus radio and so forth, all the different people there. That's it. Some were not there, some didn't get there, but every single newspaper, every radio station, BBC, TalkSport, all of them were all accommodated. I've known you for years and years, and we've had our ups and downs, but I've never banned. I don't believe certainly in the last 30 odd years, I've never banned anybody from a show. And as I say, you got my number, and I've got no problem speaking to anybody about anything. I am so open-minded about what goes on and why. I'll answer every question because I believe what we're doing is for the good of boxing. I think for Saudi, for Riyadh season, it's brilliant. I think taking events to Saudi, letting the young population, their very young population, seeing various things from around the world, not just the Western world, which in our arrogance we think is all that matters, but around the world, from other cultures, from the Far East, Middle East, Africa, everywhere they have everything going on. It's brilliant. Let their youngsters see it. They're big users, they're biggest users in the world of social media. And they're engaging. Women there now. I've been there working, doing jobs, driving, doing all the things that I'm told they couldn't do. Have you been there?
Not to Saudi, no. I've been to
Oh,
Abu
right.
Dhabi
We
for a
would
show there,
need to
but not
go.
to Saudi.
Go and have a look at it, and go and look yourself, and you can form an opinion. We're doing the first ever women's fight there on the 12th of October.
First ever women's world title fight.
World title fight. Sorry, yeah, on the
That's right.
on the 12th. That may not have happened 2 or 3 years ago, and it's moving forward. And as I said on a radio interview yesterday, that King Charles was in Africa. I think it was in Kenya early part of this year. About that much away from apologising for the atrocities against the Mau Mau, which was happening in my lifetime.
Yeah.
They're a young country. They're a country. I don't think they're even 100 years old. Saudi Arabia as a country. We've had a parliament for or whatever it is. Was it 1,000 years? Whatever we've had it. Women have only had the vote for 100 years.
It's true.
We start timing it all down. But the world's changing dramatically. You don't change things if you want to change things and move forward. If you start putting blinkers on and keep doing what you're doing, of course, there are some things that have happened that I'm sure, not sure, which in the past, in every nation, that people obviously would regret. But we are where we are, and we're moving forward. We're moving forward, and we're moving forward in a great fashion. And I'm really pleased at what's going on, because I when we're out there, I know that people are really getting into the sport, into their boxing, into the various things that are going on there. The golf, the cricket, the equestrian stuff they're doing. I think they're talking about doing cricket out there. All these different sports are all happening. So why is it these feature writers just pick on boxing?
Well, let me ask you, why do you think, with the events getting bigger and bigger and more popular, Why is the criticism also growing in your view? What causes the
I don't
backlash?
think I think there are certain people who they think that that's what that's their way of saying it. And if it's their beliefs, that's all well and good, and that's fine. But I actually go along with a thing. If you feel that way, then don't be a hypocrite and come along. I really do believe that. If you vote with your feet, if you feel it's bad, don't buy the pay-per-view. Don't buy a ticket. If that's your beliefs, and I would respect that, you're earning your money coming along to something that you feel is so bad, then why don't you donate your wages to for that? So donate it to a charity that supports your what you feel is the problem.
Yeah, I'd have to get paid a bit more first, to be honest, to make any sort of meaningful
Well,
impact.
it's the old story, isn't it? It's very easy, and people think we're an easy target, and we're going to sit there and stand for all this. I certainly am not, and I have no problem debating that with anybody at any time, with Ollie, anyone in public. I'll sit there and defend certainly my position in this and how I feel that things moving forward should be. I find the whole thing it distracts from what the Riyadh season and the involvement of Saudi Arabia and the finances that they put into this sport to bring us to where we've had. We've had the most unbelievable fights and nights in the last 12 months. You know, that great night they had in Vegas, which they played the Saudi national anthem.
Yeah, on the subject of distractions and maybe on a more light-hearted note, what did you make of Liam Gallagher's performance?
I was in the dressing room. I watched it back. He was okay at William. I like Liam. I thought he was okay. I mean, again, you know, it's like what we're trying to do here. It was a fucking boxing event, for God's sake. It was a great boxing night. Liam came along and done 3 songs. The atmosphere was unbelievable. They've never. What was the atmosphere like in that place? It was electric. Was people bored? Were they not entertained? Did Daniel not entertain him? Were you not entertained? That's what we're in the entertainment business, the sport entertainment business. All these miserable bastards who come along and pick it apart, get a life. God help us. What is the matter with them? They're just awful. They're beyond miserable. It's like fucking. I'll tell you what. Next time, don't come. Do what you like doing best. Sit at home watching Victor Mildrew on television.
That's a nice, typical Frank Warren topical reference there. For younger viewers, Google Victor Meldrew. You won't be disappointed.
Yeah, God, I'll tell you what.
Very good performance. What was your highlights of the undercard?
I thought it was good. I thought Hamza was brilliant. I thought Anto was brilliant. I thought they were superb performances. They really did stick out for me.
Yeah, I mean, really good undercard, but I thought Hamza stood at the head and shoulders above the rest. He was obviously the only stoppage on the undercard, probably helps with that. But just to take someone like Tyler Denny, who's on a great run of form, European champion, and take him out in that manner, minimum fuss, really, really impressive.
Oh, he done it with that classic punch on the top of the head, which had kept someone in the first round, and they lose their equilibrium. I was only talking about that last week about Daniel when he fought Kevin Lorena. It's that type of punch. You've seen that happen quite a few times, and he's very good at doing that. And especially his height helps because he's a shorter guy, and he punched down on him, and he done his job, and he never recovered from that.
How likely is a world title fight next for Hamza?
Very. We're working on it.
Would it be Janibek, as you worked with him before?
I can't go into the details until it's signed.
Okay. I mean, I know you floated a fight between him and Chris Eubank Jr. before. Is there any chance of working with Eubank Jr.?
He doesn't want to fight Hamza.
No. All right. Well, maybe
You
we'll
know
see
that.
what.
You know that better than me.
Well, let's see what transpires between your conversation last night with Conor Ben. Maybe there will be some work with Eubank Jr. You never know.
Who knows?
You know, but you're not going to tell us just yet. Just before I let you go, I did mention this to you before. I think I was bringing it to your attention for the first time. My colleague Josh Hart, did an interview last week with Gavin Gwynn, former European lightweight champion, obviously with Queensberry. Uh, we haven't put it out yet. It'll probably go out later this week. He's not entirely happy with Queensberry. predominantly because he hasn't had a fight or an offer of a fight, he says, since he lost the titles to Mark Chamberlain or suffered defeat to Mark Chamberlain. He says he feels he's just been used to get his belts for one of your other fighters because he vacated his British as well, of course. What do you make of that, or how would you respond to those comments?
Well, first of all, he was paid to fight, so he wasn't used. He got paid. That's number one. That was last March's fight, so I understand.
Yeah.
After that fight, he was suspended for 28 days, and I understand he had something wrong with his hand, and the boxing board of control never had, and still not, according to what I've heard, not had clearance yet from him about his hand, so he wouldn't be allowed to fight. So they got clearance, so I'm told, and I'm told by his manager Lee Eaton, who's also our matchmaker, that he actually has a fight.
Oh, okay. So a happy ending then.
I mean, I don't know who he's fighting, but that's what I understand.
Yeah,
That's
well,
what I've
yeah.
been told.
A happy ending if it's a winnable fight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get
you
your
know,
point.
and I think it's a bit, we look, if we can't always give someone a fight back immediately. That don't always happen, but especially if they've been suspended. And if you're suspended, that means you can't train for that period of time. You're not supposed to go near the gym, not be boxing, doing anything. So then you've got to get ready for a fight. That takes you another 8 to 10 weeks. Coming off of a fight like after the month, so that's three months, 2 weeks, and there you are.
Just before I let you go, Tyson Fury was obviously at the show, as was Alexander Usyk on Saturday night. Fury's immediate reaction, which has been memed already, no surprise there, about Anthony Joshua losing. He's just cost me 150 million quid. What did you make of that, especially given Fury still got his own business to take care of?
What do I make of it? Well, I mean, obviously, it's a fight that would have they would have earned that type of money. There's no doubt about that. It's true.
But then have you got mixed emotions then? Because you're delighted for Daniel, of course. He's your
Of course, I
guy.
did. I wanted Daniel to win. I mean, I can't be any clearer than that. When I sat in his corner,
Would you like to bring Joshua back if it's not against Daniel, maybe against someone else?
I don't have a promotional deal with him. His promotional deals with Eddie.
But you're obviously the lead promoter in terms of Riyadh season. It's been broached that perhaps Joshua against Deontay Wilder could finally happen now.
It's another good fight. There's all options, but it's all too soon for anything to happen. It's all very raw, and decisions won't be made at this stage.
All right, good stuff. Frank, really great to catch up with you. It's been a long time. Won't leave it this long next time.
I'll leave it to you, my son. Be good.
I'll do my best. Cheers, Frank. Take care, mate.
Bye, mate.
Bye.